Universe for the opportunity to testify on behalf of Wisconsin Right to Life in support of Assembly Bill 371. There are numbers of instances where women report that they were forced into abortions, and I'll give you some examples of that. I think that rather than repeat everything that Representative Litchens described, the bill basically has three components. The first component is one in which the woman is protected from not being forced into having an abortion. We do have a law that addresses the fact that the consent should be voluntary, but nothing that specifically requires that the person performing the abortion ask the woman if she's being coerced. This is not something where she would be separated for a long period of time from someone who's there with her at the abortion, if she has brought someone with her. It's just a case that for that specific question of determining whether or not she's being coerced, that would be the part that would take place in private. The second portion of the bill addresses the growing incidence of these webcam abortions, which would places the woman a long distance from a medical person. Now, there are lots of complications that go along with RU46 chemical abortions, and they are well documented by the FDA. And certainly their report that describes 2,207 adverse instances related to RU46, which included 14 deaths of women. I think we should be concerned about that. 612 hospitalizations, 58 ectopic pregnancies, 339 blood transfusions, and 256 cases of infection. There also are, in the documentation from the FDA, there are reports about excessive bleeding, cramping, and so on. So this is not a minor situation that the woman goes through. The third portion of the bill deals with the repeal of penalties to women, and all it does is it puts 944, the whole body of the criminal statute itself, in line with 940.13. So there are not conflicting provisions in the statutes. The one provision says that there are penalties to women, and another one says there are not. So it just essentially puts those in line with each other. But most importantly, and there are other women here today that are going to testify to being forced to have abortions, but I want to just share briefly some testimonies from women who have experienced that. Here's, and these are all Wisconsin women. I could give you, I could give you this thick from across the country. There have even been instances where women have been killed because they did not have an abortion, even well publicized. I don't have any of those from Wisconsin, so I chose not to bring them. These are women from Wisconsin. This is Liz. I was pregnant, I was so excited, and I told my boyfriend. He said, "You're not ready to be a mother because you aren't graduated from high school, you don't have a job, and you don't even have a license. If you don't have an abortion, I'm going to break up with you." He handed me a $500 check and then left. This is Ashley. I've been with my boyfriend for 2 years, and he told me to get an abortion or he'll leave. Sabrina. My mom texted me saying I'm getting an abortion, and she and my dad picked me up from school. And my mom said I can't stay with her and my dad if I have this baby. And I can't see my boyfriend anymore. It hurt so bad that it pushed me to have an abortion. I didn't want it all. I had no say. I wanted it so bad that they made me feel like my whole family would hate me. And then she talks about how she regrets the fact that she was forced. This is Laura. My boyfriend did not want me to keep the child. He had no time to be a dad, and when I told my mom about my pregnancy, she threatened to send me away. And then she learned she was pregnant with twins, and she regrets the fact that she aborted not one but 2 children. This is Kristen. Anytime I was talk to the father of the child, we could just fight and argue the fact that he didn't want to have the child, and I was still unsure. The only person I had to talk to was the father, and all he did was try to convince me to get rid of the baby, tell me it was my only choice and that I was ruining his future and mine. And eventually she gave in and caved into the threats. This is Courtney. I kind of freaked out and tried telling my ex, and he told me that we had to abort if there was no other choice. He told me if I didn't do it, that he would just do it himself. Samantha. The next 2 days, my boyfriend kept telling me how I could not have a child, that I was too young, but I wanted to keep the baby. He told me I had to get an abortion, and finally she gave in and went to Chicago to have a late-term abortion. This is Adriana. My boyfriend raped me. I am now 14 and a half, and I regret ever having the abortion that his mom made me do. Ariel. My mom and my family were against it and didn't want me to be pregnant. I wanted to keep the baby, but my mom didn't. So one day my mom took me to the clinic and told them I wanted to get an abortion, but I didn't want one. Chantrice. I felt my baby moving at 14 weeks. I was forced to get an abortion by my mother. She also had an ultrasound, which she cherishes to this day of that child she was forced to abort. Brittany. Brittany says, I automatically fell in love with my baby and couldn't wait to be a mom, but when we told our parents, our happiness soon faded. When I found out that I actually had an appointment to let someone kill my child, I pretty much shut down. I couldn't believe that my mom, of all the people who also got pregnant with me at 16, couldn't understand. And then we have Carrie. 2 years ago, at 15, I got pregnant again. My boyfriend that did not like the idea told me to get an abortion and he would take it into his own hands. So these are just a few examples of women that have been, and these are all Wisconsin instances of women that have been forced to have abortions. So again, I think the bill is clear. Representative Litchens answered any questions, so rather than go over them all again, I'll just answer any questions you might have.